Now, with these heifers, they are not wild by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't know how trained they are. So as I approach them, they're not paying, and trust me, they're watching me. That's their livelihood. But I'm not close enough to bother them yet. So at some point, they're going to respond to me, and I need to make them aware that I know that that I realize I'm invading their flight zone. As I stopped, they went back to what they're doing. So then I can move closer. But anytime I move in from here, I'm starting to elicit movement away from me. The one on the backside actually moved. This one's gotten pretty comfortable. Not sure what's on those steps. It might be kind of scary to know. Now, if I wanted to turn her this way, let me see if we can do this. I got to keep her eye contact, and I can bring her around this way. That's what you're talking about, pulling on an eye. Now, as soon as she gets far enough away from me, I lose control of that eye, right? And then she can take off. Now, as I walk toward them, once again, I get position on the eye. I want her to know when I walk up to her, she needs to walk away. A lot of times on gentle cattle, I'm going to have to keep them out there, make me look bad. Isn't that pretty terrible? We could be a short demo tonight. But one thing on gentle cattle, a lot of times, because they let us get so close before they move, we teach them to get slower and slower. If you put pressure on one of them and they move, you need to let it bounce off. Then go put more pressure. Gentle cattle, you can stay right on their hip. As they walk off, you stay right on their hip. You never take the pressure off, so they figure out, why go anywhere? It's not going to change. If I walk, he don't keep coming, so I'll just stop. So on gentle cattle, you need to teach them to move away from you in more of a bounce technique. And on gentle cattle, you move with more abruptness, more speed, and more directness. On wild cattle, you don't do that, do you? But once. And then you get to go fix fence, bring them back, and all these other things. So you use measured response and almost an opposite reaction than what a lot of people do. On gentle cattle, normally everybody's kind of slow, meandering around. On wild cattle, you're running over here to do this, you're running over here to do that. Slow your movements down, use very small, precise kind of movements. One of the main things I like to teach cattle to do, and these are not paying attention to me yet, so I'm going to have to work them some more to get them to do this, is to teach them to stop. And I'm going to step in here behind them so I can try to turn them back. And if I need to push on this one's eye, I'll step up here, make more movement, step toward her, send her around. And once she starts going this way, if I want to stop them, you walk up their side. Going with the flow of cattle slows them down or stops them. If I want to speed them up, I go the opposite direction. So to put brakes on cattle, and you can think about how we drive cattle a lot of times. If we're taking them somewhere, we're right here going the same speed to make sure they keep going, and lo and behold, they won't keep going. Well, we're telling them to slow down at the same time. We want them to stop or go forward. So to get cattle to move, go in behind them. Notice they started coming off the fence. If I want to straighten them back out, I'll come out here. I don't want her to go where her nose is at. I'll respect her itch. Now I can step in, send her forward. And once again, you start working cattle like a border collie dog. In and out. Like I said, these heifers are pretty sticky, so I'm not going to be afraid to send them pretty fast because they're not going to get out of control. But by moving in and out and switching eyes, you can get them moving faster, stop them, move up. Anybody ever driven a skid steer? I should say zero-turn mower too, shouldn't I? What happens when things get out of control with a skid steer? What do they tell you to do? Turn loose, let it stop, start over. If cattle get out of control, the best thing you can do is teach them to stop, reposition everything, and start over. Same difference, all right? So these heifers are stopping going that direction. Now there's more draw going this way, but she'll still stop. Now I'm a lot further away than I was a while ago, but she's still stopping. And if I'm getting cattle in to get them acclimated that I've purchased, I want to be able to stop them straight, just like these two are. If they're very wild, they'll stop and face you. And I don't want them to stop and face me. I want them to be comfortable looking out of me just one eye as they stop. When you get cattle where they'll do that, they're relaxed enough you can do anything you want to with them. But if you stop cattle and they turn and face you, they still don't trust you. Because the only way they can focus is to get both eyes on you and look at you. And they only do that if they don't trust you, all right? Now then, here's where I can take this heifer on this side and send her around. Should be able to step on her hip, push on an eye, and I can turn both of them back the other direction by just working on the one heifer. Now I'm gonna step back over here and that's a process called switching eyes. As she turned around, she had to lose contact with me in her eye before she picked me up on the other one. Cattle that don't trust you won't do that. They will not turn their back on you, and they'll always turn towards you and turn and go. It's another good key to look for in cattle is whether or not they'll turn away from you. These heifers are so good, we may not be able to show a whole lot. All right, push on an eye, switch eyes. Once again, speed of movement. All I did was speed my step up. And if I want this one to go, which one am I going to drive? One thing about cattle, they like to go to and be with other cattle. So I'm going to see if this will work. Now see, she started to turn, so I stepped in on her hip to pull her nose around just a little bit. If she does turn, I'm going to push on an eye, straighten her back around. And she may go around, but I'm going to try to, yep, she is. That's fine. I'm going to see if I can go back the other way.